What's the motherfucking deal, man? Welcome to Saucy Sports TV. If you're not familiar with Saucy Sports TV, well, this is a Houston, Texas homer network. It means we're talking all sports, but only Houston. And we're not talking about the fucking Texans. At least not in mass, not very much. Little things, maybe. But we got Mr. Saucy Sports TV himself holding it down. Who let the people know? Well, they already know, but let the people know who is joining us this evening.
You got your boy Hector Flores, no longer in a pistachio room, according to Professor Trill. Actually, officially moved into another room, still in the same house, but decided to move into a bigger room.
Oh,
mainly because, Honcho, you already know I'm gonna go ahead and pursue my master's degree.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured if I'm gonna stay here for another 2 years, I might as well get a bigger room and at least have a comfy 2 years before I start debating about moving out.
Okay, that's a smart thing to do. Yeah, just be as comfortable as you can, put in the work, and we already know you're gonna hold that down, so we ain't worried about that. So a lot of stuff been going on, and so we're gonna cover a wide variety. So people are like, well, what is the topic? You guys see practice and protest. Practice? We talking about practice? Yes, we're talking about practice, kind of, and then we'll be talking about just kind of some of the things. Right now, honestly, I'm not a person that likes to harp on athletes. Should they use their platforms to, speak on what's going on in the world? Should they or shouldn't? I'm not a person to judge them. But a lot of people,
I feel like if it's something you have a distinct, obviously passion for it. I mean, you have your platform. I mean, by all means, use it. But it's kind of funny just looking back at all the backlash that Colin Kaepernick received, and it's like now everyone's kind of like, oh, that's what he was talking about. But I will like to give. I mean, I know we're not gonna talk about too much text and stuff, but shout out to Arian Foster. Obviously, Honcho, you know that Part of My Take is a podcast I like listening to, and obviously they actually brought in Arian Foster, knowing that Part of My Take has one of the largest influence when it comes to like sports podcasts, as far as like it's one of the most listened to sports podcasts. And so to have Arian Foster and go ahead because I mean the important thing right now is to educate, and I think Arian Foster did a really good job in that interview, and I think really was able to give people answers if they're not entirely sure of what the whole issue is going on right now.
I think that's important. Like I'm a big person. I believe in taking your opportunities to educate people. Like automatically getting mad at folks because they don't understand what you're going through or your background, or like you can't do that. Now, if they're actively disrespecting what you're standing for, that's something different. But getting mad and upset with people who may not be familiar with what's going on, why, or maybe just a little bit oblivious. Some people live in boxes, you feel me, and they just don't know. They or maybe they choose to be silent. Again, so I want to dive into that a little bit today. And but real quick, shout out to Beast Mode, Footballer 503, Real Talk, what's the motherfucking deal? Man Cave Sports TV, what's the motherfucking deal?
I haven't heard that name in a while.
And Danny,
man, what is up, Man Cave?
Man, but yeah, like I say, it's crazy, man. Because I mean, it's been something that's happening all over the world, and if y'all fuck with Danielle, we've been kind of talking about it more in mass and some of the other aspects of it. But I've been seeing people kind of on both sides of the spectrum talking about guys, standing up for things and not standing up for things, and what's right and what's wrong. We know Houston is a unique city because we can talk about what happened with Harvey a couple of years back and how the whole city came together, and it was just that they looked out for each other. They put in work. People were coming out of woodworks, just things that people that you didn't think would associate with one another, that any other time you say, don't fuck with it, that's racist or this, that, and the third. Like, we're coming together because it was about the greater good. And so I found that really interesting. But now you kind of have like this weird situation, right? And like you mentioned the Colin Kaepernick thing. And no, it's not necessarily just an NFL situation, but NFL is king in America. It is what it is. And so when you don't see certain guys saying too much, people start, questioning things. We've made statements even, on Sauce about, JJ and some of the things that he has spoken up on and hasn't spoken up on. And I found it interesting because in the interview, he kind of talked about it. And then somebody got mad at him on Twitter and was like, well, what are your thoughts on this? Haven't heard you say anything about it. Haven't heard you, this, that, and the third. And it's kind of like, were you really looking to see what he really thought, or were you looking for an opportunity to point out that you thought he hadn't said anything? And this was already a few days after the thing, and then he kind of keeps like, I explained it here, etc. Well, I didn't see it, and I know, you're used to tweeting a bunch of stuff, whatever. Honestly, I don't feel like it's anybody's obligation to support anything they don't 100% believe in. But I do think it changed perception.
The other thing is that if you don't necessarily know how to speak about it, I mean, this is like a very, very sensitive issue. So it's not like, everybody has to say something. It's not one of those that like, I mean, I know everybody's seen the comments of if you're not with us, you're against us kind of mentality, which I'm not 100% behind. I think that if you want, you could still be part of it if you're getting educated on it. So just because you're not showcasing, your support, but you're learning. I think getting educated is obviously one of the things that that I believe is most important. I can tell you right now, I'm not personally going out to the protest, and I'm not saying that I choose not because I have any like legitimate reason as to why. I just choose not to protest, but I have sent donations to bail bonds to go ahead and help out for people that do get arrested during this protest. So I am at least doing my part in that. But as far as me protesting, I'm just not going to do that. Yeah. But also I'm doing my part in getting educated as well.
And I agree. And that's my thing too. Like I said, I think that's the biggest thing that you can do for somebody or as a person who's paying attention. Look, I'm not an activist. I'm not going to protest. I got certain views, like I say, when it comes to some of these things that may differ than the masses. And then I have certain views that I do tend to keep a little bit private because, certain things you probably shouldn't say on YouTube. But it is what it is. But the thing I think that you can do best as any individual is educate. Make sure, you're not passing along misinformation or some of this bullshit. If you're trying to understand, don't go into a situation actively trying to discredit it. Well, the news said this. Like right now, the media is your enemy. Right now, like everything is there's so much misinformation out there from everywhere. No matter what you believe, whatever your political stance is, whatever your orientation, right? Like no matter where you're going, it's so much misinformation.
According to CNN, this is a riot. It's not a protest. So, yeah, so I don't know if you want to judge off that.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and that's the crazy part, because what is happening too, you got a lot of people who are blurring the lines, and what I mean is by the people who are commenting on what's happening, and then also by just like I say, just misrepresenting things. And so, because you do have peaceful protests happening. You have people trying, it's nothing but looters and rioters, and they're tearing everything down. And then you do have groups of motherfuckers who are fucking shit up. Like you have people who are deliberately coming out with intentions on to come up. They don't give a fuck about none of this other shit. But it goes back, and like I said, I want to get back to the athletes. And the first notable athlete that I saw doing something, I'm not going to say this is the first one standing up, but the first one I just really did that jumped off the page at me was a couple of days ago when I saw fucking John Jones. I know he's not a Houston guy, I know he's not an H-Town guy, but it got me to thinking, that's what really got me thinking about, should athletes be more active? Like, is that their duty? Is it their job? And people will say things, and that's what I don't like too, is because people well, where's this guy? Where's that guy? We do all this and we do all that. Well, you do all this and you do all that because you enjoy what they do. So if they're an entertainer, if they're an athlete, you enjoy what they do. So that's why you support or celebrate. It's not because of their political views or any of those things. And so I don't know. And again, like I say, because the things that you do can get kind of washed, asunder. Like, JJ had the whole thing when the Harvey happened, right? And it was huge. I think he started off, I don't remember if he started off with 100,000 or 10,000 or whatever it is, but he got the party started, got it going. Y'all let me know. I see that it's probably buffering again real bad. It looks like in that little red zone right now for some reason. If y'all are having some buffering issues, I do apologize, but hit that like button. If you hit the like button, the buffering may stop. I will say may, because I don't want to tell you said it was going to stop. I'm report you to YouTube. But no, but
it could do it.
Yeah, it could
be the solution.
Yeah, it could be the solution. Protest the buffering by hitting the like button. But again, it's a serious issue, and again, like I said, it's especially with race in this country, it's been a hot button issue forever. I mean, forever. Ever since you started integrating. Ever since we can talk about Jack Johnson and how controversial he was. for being what every boxer is today. Just like, a lot of these things are heavily integrated. And sports is a big part of our country. Let's be honest, race is a big part of our country. And I know people say, well, I don't see color or I don't see race. And it sounds good. And
honestly, I honestly feel personally that, and it's kind of, I feel glad that like Arian Foster even mentioned in his interview that like the people that say I don't see color or I don't see race, I just feel like they're just saying that just to say it, but I feel like that's an ignorant thing to say. Like, I mean, it's clear we're all different,
Exactly.
and there's nothing wrong with that. I think the issue isn't the fact that we're different; it's the fact that we don't embrace the fact that we are different.
Correct.
We don't try to learn about other cultures. We don't try to understand why certain cultures do certain things. That's the real problem, is the fact that people don't try to learn about Muslim culture, or people don't try to learn about the Jewish community. The thing isn't so much about like acting like everybody's the same, and that's not the truth. We're all different, and that's the part that makes this country great, is that we have so many people that are different. But the problem is that, once again, you got to educate yourself on what makes us so unique, and what makes this country, what should make this country great, is the fact that we are different.
Correct. And I think that's definitely what sets apart all the uniqueness, all the individual cultures, again, coming together in the melting pot to create something that is not available anywhere else in the world. Like, this is an extremely unique country, and that's why I say, and trust me, look, I was when I was younger, I was all fuck America, fuck all this shit. This is a crazy system, and all of these things. America has flaws. America has a lot of fucking issues. Like, let's not sit here and act like everything's perfect. But again, the whole world has issues. I mean, everything is what it is. But what do we start doing to start fixing these issues? And with this being a land based on so much entertainment, sports is entertainment. As The Rock used to say, the most electrifying man in sports entertainment. People got all mad about it. And somebody's like, well, will you stop talking before you lose 70?
Should we consider the KK as a terrorist organization?
Yeah.
And Bregman said, yeah, should be.
Yeah. And somebody got mad, well, be quiet before you lose 75, stick to sports before you lose 75% of your fans or something. And he was just like, well, if my fans are KKK members, then I probably want to lose them or something. Something he said to that line. And Bregman's been known for being a guy who kind of speaks his mind on, society's issues. So, no surprise there. But I don't think he was forced. I don't think it was a thing. I think that's genuinely in him. I think he's a guy that, that's what he does. When you have a guy like James, maybe, who doesn't speak up as much, who maybe doesn't say as much, or people aren't seeing him on the front line speaking on this, that, and the third. I know he had a lot of flack with the China thing. Oh, James Harden, was saying this and doing that, and all of these things. Like I said, so I wait, and if you're in the chat too, and if you're in the comments, I want to know your thoughts. Like, should they expect to have to speak on these issues? If we idolize and we put them on these platforms, should we expect them? Or should we realize outside of the sport that they play, a lot of these people are no more informed or intelligent than you and I. A lot of them are probably less intelligent. A lot of them may have gotten by on athletic skill to get them in the position that they're in. And I'm not going to say to call a bunch of stupid jocks. Don't say I said that. But come on, y'all have heard some of these motherfuckers do interviews. Y'all know what's up. But again, so like, should it be? It's like, should they have to use that platform? Should they have an option? Should they be vilified? What's that dude, spin rate? Bauer. The guy. Trevor Bauer. I saw him catching some flack. Because somebody asked me, hey man, you always got a comment about everything else. You got opinions about everything. What are your thoughts on this? Or are you just all about the money? And, he kind of gave a reply, basically, I'm going to withhold my opinions because I don't feel as though I'm informed or educated enough on this particular, situation to comment on it. And
I feel like that was the right thing to say, though, because I mean, I think like I said, like I pretty much said initially, is if it's something that you understand, you're passionate about, I feel like, by all means, use your platform. I mean, the fact that you have such a following and the fact that people do see what you say and do that, as long as you passionately believe in it. And the problem is that, like, as I'm saying this could also be spin zone on the opposite end, like the argument. You can also look at it on the other side. I mean, look what Brian Urlacher did.
Oh, that really was this. I know somebody said there was a fake account of his.
It might have been. It might have been,
but
but
it was
like,
verified. I saw the check little thing on it, so I thought
yeah,
it was.
so that's the thing though. So like, here's this is the thing that I've always said. I think people like using freedom of speech when it's convenient for them. So like, obviously when someone's speaking something that you're for, you're all about it. You're like,
Correct.
oh, they're just practicing their freedom of speech.
Correct.
But then when someone goes against what you're saying, you're like, oh no, you need to shut up. Someone needs to silence this person. But it's like, freedom of speech doesn't just go one way. It goes both ways. I mean, that's the whole point of freedom of speech. But I think if you're gonna, I don't think you should expect everybody to speak on an issue. I think Trevor Bauer, obviously, like he said, he's not educated on this. He's not, he doesn't want to say something and then come off wrong. Like maybe he's, for all you know, maybe he's talking to Michael Brantley. Maybe he's talking to Lionel DeShields about like how to feel, like what should he do, like or explain to him what is the issue and what is going on. So you don't know exactly what Trevor Bauer is doing. Trevor Bauer, as much as people think that he's very emotional and he plays with his heart, with his heart on his sleeve and all that, he is also a very calculated person. And so like, I mean, I know a lot of people hate Trevor Bauer right now, but he's a player that I actually do respect. I mean, he speaks his mind. That's something that you don't get that from many people. But I think that he's right to say, if you don't know anything about this, then it's best to not say anything. But like I said, go get educated on it. And I think that's what Trevor Bauer pretty much said that. So, I mean, but on the other side, I mean, not everything needs to be broadcast. Maybe James Harden is doing something. It's just that no one's seeing it. And I think that kind of does sound like something James Harden would do. He, like, for all you know, he's probably over in Arizona, because I believe he's still in Arizona right now. He's probably, at the protest with these people, or maybe he's helping by providing supplies and stuff like that. So, I mean, you don't know what exactly he's doing. I mean, for all you know, he's probably doing something. He's just not broadcasting it out there.
Yeah, and that's my thing with James. That's what I like about James. James came in, dropped a cool $1 million, and nobody said anything about it. Like, and again, hey, is that my boy Robo? Everybody went, and again, this is not a knock on JJ, because anytime you say something that is not 100% JJ praise, people, oh, you hate JJ. It's not that. JJ got it started, and he used his name, super huge, loved the momentum and what he did. But if we're talking about like individual impacts from athletes, period, I don't think anybody did more than Harden did in that move. Like, he was out there, with supplies, doing different things, but literally gave, and that's when he just signed his contract, $1 million fucking dollars. Like, that's owner money. There were owners who were giving, maybe $500,000 to $1 million or $2 million. And so, but the thing about it is, like, nobody ever really meant, like, James gets so much flack, and even in the city, like, that's what you would think is like, okay, well, JJ has untouchable status in the city for what he did, Hurricane Harvey help and all of that stuff. But again, like I said, nobody talks about Harden like, he did anything. But that's kind of part of it when it comes to these things. Like you said, he may be out there silently, moving in silence, getting a whole lot done, and people just never know because he's not trying to advertise it. He's not trying to do his works before men. He knows what he does. He knows what's.
At least he's not that. At least he's not that one lady apparently like that decided to like post an Instagram picture that apparently she was helping boarding up. I believe it was Los Angeles. That was just that just kind of makes me feel some type of way that
some people are trash people. Oh man.
All I think about is like, man, the future's gonna suck. I feel bad for my grandkids. Like
who you telling like
not my problem.
Yeah, that's what I say. That's why I'd be super like, man, I don't know if there need to be any little honchos running around because the world is getting ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? And so, it's crazy, man. And I see Deshaun was downtown. I know they said 60,000 people downtown here in Houston, if you are a Houstonian. Apparently, a naked white man is causing a havoc downtown. The police chief has said everything else was going smooth, about 60,000.
What's up with Houston and naked people? I remember like a few years ago we had that naked lady on top of the 18-wheeler.
Oh my God, that was crazy. I remember. Oh, that was disgusting and crazy. It was just all a bunch of bad stuff going on.
Is there something about the city of Houston where it's like, hey, let me go crazy by taking off my clothes?
Yeah, I know exactly what it is. It's the heat. That's exactly what it's people protesting standing in the water.
The heat and the humidity.
Yes. And we'll talk about Jernigan tomorrow on the Salt. Look, we ain't finna get no Texan deep dive, but yes, I see that he's not apparently not signing. So there's that. We'll get back to that. But anyway, but yeah, so just kind of looking at everything. I don't want to be talking about James giving the owner money. Let's talk about the owner of the Rockets, and let's talk about that for a second, because I know there was at a point when a lot of this stuff was going on.
The poorest billionaire.
Oh, that's
Is that who you were for?
That's terrible. Is he the poorest billionaire?
I mean, he's the cheapest billionaire. Yeah. That's for sure.
No, you don't get a billion without being cheap. I think I got this money, boy. No, but all bullshit to the side. Like Tillman, it's been very interesting. I've been seeing these kind of hopping all over, and the people in Houston seem not to have the most favorable opinion of Tillman. I think a lot of it could be possible Trump support or whatever it is.
I mean, there's that, and then also the fact that he cut 50% off benefits from current employees. Ironically enough, one of them is including my dad. Oh. And then so he's been doing a lot of like layoffs, and I actually I was like, man, way to go, Tillman, man. He made me feel bad for my dad. So, never thought that full circle moment right there. I was like, well then.
Tillman bringing families together, man. That's a beautiful thing. But yeah, and like I said, I get it. He's a kind of a brash dude. He's kind of a guy where, he may rub a lot of people the wrong way. It kind of is what it is. I like it the most because, again, I want to feel like with him being a Houston guy, he actually wants to see the Rockets win. I think, but when money gets involved with your passions, it can get a little different. You know what I mean? So,
I mean, he's been taking quite the hit, obviously, because of the whole China issue that happened because of Daryl Morey. Yeah. But I just don't know what to say at this point. I mean, nothing shocks me. I mean, I'm sure people knew he was a Trump supporter. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't see how that would be shocking anybody at this point. Yeah. I feel like most of these owners are, to be frank. I mean, I mean, it's not like a shocking thing to find. Maybe certain owners wouldn't be, but I mean, like the vast majority, it isn't shocking to hear that these guys support Trump.
Yeah, I want to keep my money that I've worked for. Well, depending on how they got it. Some of them fortunate, some of them put in the work. But yeah, hey, this is generally when the conservatives or Republicans are in charge, the money tends to flow a little bit more depending on who you are. But if I had $1 billion, I'd definitely be. I want all my money. I love y'all. Y'all cool, but money. So that's my thing. I'm not surprised. Like I said,
Honcho be rocking the MAGA hat.
Man, what? I'll get a custom made. I'll go get the goddamn autograph. Like I can keep my monies.
Old English MAGA.
They have those. Have you seen those? They have. Oh my! They got some.
That's a thing.
They have some real hood MAGA dudes out there. You know what I'm saying? It's some real hood Trump supporters, and they got their own custom little MAGA hats and all that other stuff. So I mean, look, here's my deal. Because I know some people they hear Trump, they get enraged, they go nuts. I know some people hear Trump, they are ready to celebrate and throw a party. I'm just kind of, like I say, in the middle. Like, what are all y'all fucking doing? You know what I mean? Like, it's cool. It's the president. Again, I'm not super. I've talked about it at the end. I guess more so than the salt. But y'all know, again, politics is a whole weird foray. We have to participate even though we don't want to participate. It kind of is what it is. But what you said
at least you don't get despised like I do, because I was the guy that voted for the third party.
Oh, they hate you. Bernie supporters hate you. Hillary supporters hate you. I'm pretty sure.
You did what?
Yeah, you wasted a vote. How dare you? Well, apparently you did too, because your candidate lost. So, but anyway, it is what it is. But my thing is just like I don't know. I'm not with the whole cancel culture, but I know people are feeling upset because. And again, this ain't necessarily sports related, but like talking about owners. Some people Wendy's donated money to the Trump campaign. Let's cancel the CEO. Wendy's is over. We'll go eat Jack in the Box.
People are talking about boycotting Taco Bell.
Where?
Because Taco Bell is also another one that supported Trump.
I mean, that Taco Bell ain't too bad to boycott. Y'all, they ain't even giving y'all 100% meat. They told
Hey man,
y'all.
that's my go-to when I'm drunk. Aside from Waffle House,
Really?
that's the go. Yeah, when I'm drunk, I usually go to Waffle House. But I mean, Taco Bell is like if I don't feel like eating in, just go hit up Taco Bell.
Man.
Not anymore because the one that was by my house is no longer there. But
Let me tell y'all the story, and this is probably not a story. I don't condone this. I was much younger. I was very foolish, and I didn't gauge my limit. But I got real plastered one time.
did you fight the cook at the Waffle House?
No. I went through the Taco Bell drive-through, right? Probably fell asleep at the window. You know what I'm saying? They gave me my food. I woke back up, and I probably pulled up maybe a car length, maybe half a car length ahead, and fell asleep right there. And somebody tapped on my shit, and I probably should have parked and called for a ride, but somehow safely I made it home. But yeah, so yeah, go to drunk food Taco Bell. I could definitely relate to that. And the crazy part about that too is somehow that evening I saw my cousin, and he says he saw me. I'm like, well, if you saw me, and I was probably questionable. Well, why didn't you stop? Just to even come say what's up to see. So fuck him. I don't talk to that nigga no more anyway.
You seem fine to me.
Yeah. Look good. I mean, the car was stopped in the middle of the drive-through where it shouldn't have been, but you went okay to me. So it is what it is. But I want to talk about Tillman for a second. And what I want to talk about Tillman is he made a statement. He's been kind of making the rounds and doing all that. I think he actually met with Trump last week, if I'm not mistaken. But he's been kind of making the round on some of these shows. He made a statement that people are kind of up in arms about. And he basically said that I believe in, letting all my employees speak their mind. They should be able to say what they want to. And, a lot of people brought up the reference to Daryl Morey and the China thing. And I think his thing, it was all kind of in one quote, but I think he tried, I guess he was attempting to differentiate America versus like China. He said when he's talking about local issues, say whatever you want, et cetera, et cetera. And technically, with the Morey thing.
Did he really silent Morey?
No, I don't think he did. Like
I don't really think the whole Morey situation, I felt like it kind of was, I don't even remember Daryl Morey, maybe he stated his regret, but I don't feel like he really apologized for it. I mean, clearly he still has a job. So I mean, it's not like I don't feel like Tillman necessarily did anything to I guess take away his freedom of speech. I mean, Daryl Morey still speaks his mind very freely.
Yeah, I think what people did was
he's embracing the asterisk. So I mean, I don't necessarily think that. That I don't think Tillman has anything to say as far as with the Daryl Morey situation. I don't even.
Yeah, I don't either. I think
maybe I feel like maybe it was more the NBA. I wouldn't.
The only thing he said was that Daryl Morey doesn't speak for the Houston Rockets, and I guess you want to differentiate your business from your employees' personal opinions. Fine, Dandy. You see TV shows do it all the time. The opinions expressed on this show don't necessarily reflect the values of this channel or whatever. And I think it was kind of one of those things. And I think because of the topic and what it was, and I think because of who it was, I think it had been any other GM, Presti or somebody, nobody gives a fuck. Because it's Daryl Morey and who he is, I think it blows up. I think also, I got this thing. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. And I know this is your guy. I know this is you're the guy on your team. But I think LeBron James has some kind of little low-key personal beef with the city of Houston.
We're dropping a video on.
Yeah.
Anyways,
and it's been, and I'm gonna drop that first thing, Martin. It's been done. I'm a complete asshole. Just been running around and ain't fucking said the shit. All the shit's done.
So you guys will know exactly how I feel about LeBron James. in a few days. So
yeah, I'm gonna drop it tomorrow morning. Let's say I'm gonna set it after this. I'm gonna set it for 10:30 in the morning. So y'all definitely, it's a lot. Heck, been putting in a lot of work.
So tomorrow you guys will find out how I feel about LeBron James. That's all I'm gonna say. That's just my opinion coming from a sports junkie, regardless of the sport I play. So.
The world's greatest hashtag, but and LeBron killed me because I know that barbershop thing. I know I had that idea when I never even was on YouTube. It'd be a great idea if somebody started a fucking barbershop shit. That'd be great. We talk about fucking so I guess it feels original, whatever. But it is what it is.
The way I felt about the shop, which I mean, it was an interesting series. It was short though. Mm-hmm. I think that's my one complaint about the shop. It was you could tell it's very cut. It's not yeah, they speak on certain issues, but I never felt like I never felt enlightened after listening to it. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like, I mean, I got excited because they had like DeAndre Hopkins and Seth Rogen in an episode together. Because
Oh,
and they hardly had any Seth Rogen talk, so I was disappointed from that altogether.
that's great. Seth Rogen been extra woke today lately too. He been cussing everybody out. You see that? He put that
Oh,
that Black
Seth
Lives Matter
Rogen.
thing on his thing, and then people been like, "Well, all like fuck you," and he's been like in his comments just telling everybody, "Fuck you, fuck off, go get fucked." Like I thought it was hilarious. Like I say, it's just again, people, whatever you got
Hey
going,
man,
handle how you see
Seth
fit.
Rogen's down for the culture, man.
Yeah,
Everybody knows that.
he is. He's definitely
He's
supporting
he's
the cause.
invited to the cookout. So
It was. I'm like, wow, this motherfucker really going in. Like, fuck you, fuck off, you know. And the funny thing, like, you ever read people's tweets like in their voice, or you read like their shit like in their voice when it's somebody you know or somebody famous. And so I'm reading all this, like, fuck off, you know, go get fucked.
And
Like,
I mean, Seth Rogen has a very iconic voice. I know exactly what you mean by that one.
yeah. What's the motherfucking deal? Houston, Texas Talk Trade. Let me see. Voodoo Cha. What's the motherfucking deal? DeMarquis here. I don't want to give DeMarquis any goddamn credit. JDM was mother. Yeah, and that's the thing though. Houston ain't been. Houston is like dog, and I know. Again, well, I kind of get more into that to the den when we actually kind of start dissecting what's been going on because there's a lot of questionable activity with some of these things. But I did say the one thing about Houston, the protest that I did see that I actually thought was the most powerful statement to me was to see all of the dudes that rode up on horses. Like,
Oh, the Black Cowboys.
yeah, and all of them, they rode up on horses and fucking kind of pulled up.
I'm pretty sure most of them are from Cleveland, Texas.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I hope they ain't riding horses all the way down from Cleveland. That'd be terrible.
I mean, I'm sure they brought in
yeah.
through like the
Yeah,
through the transportation, but still.
that would be bad. Them fucking poor horses. Give them some water. Yeah, so
Dang, way to change the narrative, Honcho.
yeah, it's just it's it is what it is. Goddamn, I'm changing. I'm fucking distracted. It's the
You
riders,
got,
the
you got,
looters,
you got
reckless
Peter,
horses.
You got Peter rolling, about to start rolling up.
Oh, that's how you blow it up, man. That's how. If you want this thing to just go completely to a shit show, yeah, just say a horse got abused and see what happens. Then it's we're gonna have people coming down in furry suits and shit, coming down trying to block off 45,
pouring fake blood on people.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy shit. Look, I'm an animal lover, man, but look, we're conditioned to eat certain animals and to pet certain animals. Outside of that, I'm following the rules, man. I'm not gonna get all overly concerned. You know what I mean? Hey, I like nourishment too. Okay, look, Scotty's cool. I don't barely like him half the time. He's a traitor, but I would never eat him unless it got really bad. But I'm gonna still fuck up chickens. I'm gonna eat turkeys. I'm trying to minimize the pork and stuff. But I'm gonna eat animals. No, fuck Peter. So there's that. But you said, are we gonna also have a Discord? So we can pull up in the sauce, pull up in the Discord after the sauce. Y'all want to chop it up in there, so we can definitely do that. But and my thing is, like I say, again, different views and whatever your beliefs are on the protest, whatever side, it's up to you. Like I'm not here to sway anybody. I'm not here to, say that anybody needs to do this, that, and the third. But kind of bringing it back to, like, say, the Tillman and Maury thing. Like, a lot of people brought that up. Oh, well, you tried to silence Maury. And it's like, to me, like you said, did he really? 'Cause, I mean, if it was that extreme.
I personally don't feel like. I feel like the way that to me was more of an NBA thing. I just didn't think the NBA handled it well.
Yeah.
And then kind of going back to LeBron. LeBron kind of was just kind of said something where I was just like, that didn't make much sense.
Yeah.
When he decided to speak his piece on China, which I was just like, no.
Yeah.
But this was more of the NBA kind of handled that. I don't think, besides the fact that Tillman just said that, like, Daryl Morey doesn't speak for the Rockets, which, I mean, he's not wrong on that. I mean, obviously, Daryl Morey speaking on his behalf. That was his tweet on his Twitter account. It wasn't at DM Houston Rockets GM. That wasn't like anything to do with the Rockets. It was just him expressing his opinion on something that most of us probably would agree on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's kind of the crazy thing. That's why I say America's a real interesting place. We'll dive deeper into some of that. But Maury's been an outspoken guy. He's a real interesting character, real intelligent dude. And again, whether I agree with somebody's beliefs, policy, whatever. Here's the thing that bothers me: people who call other people stupid because they don't agree with them. Like, it's some real intelligent people out there. Like, and again, just both sides. There's some real fine people on both sides out there.
The best comeback ever, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, I got nothing else. Well, you're stupid. That's so stupid. And fucking, that's what you see it. Like, I was like, wow, it blows my mind that you would call this person who is educated, degreed, and experienced, and has maybe made a name in their field, and you're the guy that saw me drunk in the drive-thru at Taco Bell, and then that's you. So, and that you're that guy. You're gonna call him stupid. So it's like I don't get it. Like, we can disagree. Hey, I vehemently disagree with you. I might not even like you, but it's hard for me to call a person stupid. That is intelligent. We may not have the same beliefs. Again, you may be in a field that I don't even support. It might be some weird shit. It might be in the weird gender studies or some shit like that. And you may think there's 172 genders, or you feel free whatever you want to. I might say that's stupid. I probably would say that's stupid. But if we're talking about things that are fact based and we're just having a discussion, and you're an intelligent person, it's hard for me to call somebody stupid even if I don't agree with them. And that baffles me, like, because people call more you're stupid, and it's just like a super geek, like anything nerdy or geeky that you can imagine. Now imagine a secret society of that, and that's where Daryl Morey is. Like, like some of the things he tweets, and I'm like, what the fuck is you? You have to be a super geek, like a super nerd, to be into some of this shit. Like,
he's probably in the same club with Elon Musk. If we're gonna be real about it.
And like, why you say that? It's like the perfect. I would love to see a conversation between. I'd like to be a fly on the wall and have a conversation with Daryl Morey and Elon Musk, and just let me sit there. And
I still can't get over the fact that he named his kid a math equation.
Would you expect anything less? I mean, this is Elon. We're talking about. He expects it to be normal.
I mean, yeah, that's true. But I mean, like a few years ago, we were all like in shock when the lead singer from Coldplay named his kid Apple. Like, we were like, oh, that's weird. It's like, I'm gonna name my kid Apple now after hearing that.
Not the worst name ever. And shout out to HTX7. Definitely gonna be some Dynamo videos coming up. They're done. Like, there are videos that are done. And there's this asshole named Honcho, right?
There's also a Dash video that should be coming.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the Dash too. So we say Dash all the time and never show him no love. But so yeah, there are videos coming up, right? Yeah, you'd have to on here. You have to do them via Streamlabs, because on this channel it doesn't have the requirements. And
make sure we get more subscribers.
Yeah, tell your friends. But on this one, it's a different one than the regular Saw Sports one. On the regular channel, it's just streamlabs.com/Sausports. On this one, make sure you add the Saw Sports TV. It's TV at the end, but it's set up the same way on here. So if y'all got, if you want to do donations or super chats or anything, like, well, donations don't, because you can't make technically a super chat. I'm sure that's trademarked or something. I don't know. Super chat, Super Bowl. I'm sure they trademark all that shit. But yeah, so it's plenty of content coming, man. But there's, like I said, this fucking dickhead named Honcho. I don't know what the fuck he be on, but he's definitely got to get his shit together, because he's slowing up the program. But like I said, it's so weird. But the weirdest name I've ever heard, you're talking about he named his kid a math equation. Weirdest name I ever heard was Marijuana Pepsi Sawyer, right? And the crazy thing about this name is, like, people say, oh, you give a kid a stupid name, they won't succeed, right? Motherfucker's like a lawyer, like doing very well for themselves. It's a lady, and I remember I looked it up. I remember I heard the name a while, like some years ago, and I was like, man, that ain't fucking true. And then they showed like where she was, more recently. And the last I checked, she was a lawyer, and I think she kept the name because she was like, I want to prove to people that you kind of can overcome these things. Like, that sounds like a fucking.
I don't know if you're a Johnny Cash guy, Honcho, but there's actually a song called "A Boy Named Sue."
No, I don't think I've heard. I've listened to some Johnny Cash. Like, I fuck with some Johnny Cash.
So he has a song called "A Boy Named Sue," and essentially it's about this guy that's looking to find his dad to kick his ass because he named him Sue, because he's been basically bullied his whole childhood.
Yeah.
And then he finally meets his dad, and at the end he was like, yeah, the reason why I decided to name you Sue is because so you would toughen you up after I left you. And so and it clearly worked, but I mean,
Not a bad idea. I don't know. It might be me, especially in this day and age. A lot of questionable things going on, so it might not. That story may not turn out the same way these days.
Actually, if that song came out today, it'd probably be very, very canceled.
Yeah, it'll be over with. Oh, new Johnny Cash dropping today on not TRL or anything. That shows you how long it's been since I fucking watched.
Good God.
I don't watch fucking music. I'm telling like BET, MTV. I canceled them decades ago.
MTV doesn't even play music
Yeah,
anymore.
well, there's that. But yeah, like BET, VH1, like all that shit. Like whenever I think it was the second. I watched the first season, but it was like the second season of Flavor of Love. Whatever year that came out, that's when my TV viewing habits like got completely fucked up. In reality TV, I'd like to start cutting that shit out. I mean, like, because when I watched,
I remember VH1 was like old classic. At least that was the idea. Was like old classic music. And then I know obviously BET was BET. And then MTV. I just remember like in the morning, because that was the thing that I did, was I just turned on MTV because they had music going on in the mornings. So that's how like I would like get my day ready, go shower, change into get ready for school and all that, but while listening to music. And I've been listening to music in the morning since because of that. But I always just thought it was so funny that like literally the channel's called Music Television and it hardly plays music.
yeah, don't play any fucking music. Like they need to call it like Media TV or something. I don't know. They need to change the fucking name, but yeah, it's crazy that they don't. Yeah, like I say, that tells you how long it's been. Probably last time I watched MTV or BT. I'm sure 106 in Park was still on, and probably TRL was still a thing. Like, around that time, Flip had hits. When Little Flip was dropping Game Over and Sunshine and This Is the Way We Ball and shit like that. Around that time was when I kind of, when Houston lost his little run, that's when I kind of stopped listening to it. But ultimately, getting back to it, like I said, I do believe Daryl Moore's a very smart guy. Like, and so that's why I say it baffles me, because he, expressed some opinions, and he expresses opinions on various things, and people get upset. Same thing with this. Like, and I can understand the athletes who may not say too much. They may be the guys like you mentioned who are just kind of doing things behind the scene. Some people don't want to upset the apple cart. Some people are thinking about their family. And what goes on with that. Like, so I can understand the angles. I can understand somebody who may say, I don't want to jump all out there, but, I'm a funded. Or I can understand somebody who may want to speak their piece or whatever's going on. Like, again, I don't think anybody should be forced to do anything because, again, living your life in a public spotlight, I mean, it's just different than the rest of us. And so you just don't know the things that people deal with. And again, because I'm sure there's some crazy stories that are not sure. I know for a fact there's so many crazy stories that these celebrities and these famous people deal with that you just have no idea. And if they don't want to bring that added drama and stress in their life, again, who am I to say that they need to do this or they need to do? I need to be worried about what do I need to do? What am I contributing if I believe in this? That's what's most important. Like I don't think trying to hold these other people's feet to the fire and make them try to feel like they have to come out and support. But I'm not sure of too many other notable H-Town athletes. I'm sure people have said anything. Has there been anybody that you've seen that was interesting that kind of maybe came out and made a statement about what was going on that you may have thought it was kind of interesting or unsuspecting?
Maybe not just like out of nowhere, but I know a lot of Dynamo players obviously, spoke out, especially Dash players, have spoke out on this issue. Obviously, you have Christian Ramirez who grew up in LA, so he very familiar of how life is like when it comes to like police brutality and all of that. But he made a few posts about that. Same thing with Memo Rodriguez. You saw what Alex Bregman did, and I mean, you had some guy with the Twitter handle of Texas Realtor. So I don't know how that business is gonna go for him after that. But good thing his name's not on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just that was one of those moments where I'm like, are you really gonna defend? There's like I'm not gonna go out here and I'm Salvadorian and I'm not gonna go out there and defend MS-13s. Like I mean so I'm just kind of like, that's one of those moments where you pick and choose your battles, and he chose the wrong battle at that moment. But Bregman obviously. He knows that what's going on, and he's a very vocal person. I like kind of what we've been saying, man. These guys do have a platform; they can use their platform. But the big thing is, one, do they really know what to say on this issue? That's the first thing. And it's like, too, if you don't know anything, should you say anything? And I think that there's nothing wrong with not saying anything if you don't know anything. But that's up to that person at that point to, once again, get educated on it. But I think the guys, like I said, if you're passionate about this issue, like you're seeing Arian Foster use his platform. He's been using his platform from like the early stages when Kaepernick was doing it. And so you can see like these guys, if they're passionate about the issues, if they're able to go ahead and state their case in there's it's one thing to just to do it, and then when someone asks you a question and you just kind of look dumbfounded by not being able to give them the proper answer, that's going to be some backfire on there.
Right.
But if you can go in there and actually state your case and explain and actually have supportive arguments for it, that's where I'm like, go ahead and use your platform. I mean, obviously not all players are doing things like this. I mean, if you look at Albert Feliz, he's kind of more taking care of what's going on in his community in Honduras. He does his charities over there, which is he's helping a shelter provide, computers and clothing and food to these poor kids in Honduras. So, I mean, everybody does their way of using their platform to support what they feel is important. Obviously, Albert Feliz feels that his community in Honduras is very important to him. So, I mean, like everybody, like I said, if you're educated on it, if that's what you're passionate about, by all means, use your platform.
Okay, I agree. So I want to get into real quick. I guess we said practice and process. We've talked a lot, more about things related to, protests and what's been going on. Sports, quick sports note before I jump to this. Do you see J.R. Smith beat the shit out this dude for fucking his car up?
I did. I read about it. I didn't hear about it, but like, okay, I understand that when it comes to at this stage of where we're at, it's gaining people to realize, hey, this is a terrible issue. So I'm not entirely against the somewhat destruction. I mean, there's some people that are kind of like taking it to a whole different level. I mean, setting police cars on fire is maybe where I'll draw the line if there was a. But I mean that, and then obviously looting is probably not what I would condone myself. But I mean, it's gaining attention. But what's the saying? Any publicity is good publicity. Is that what the saying is? Yeah. But like I think that obviously it's gaining attention. But when you really look at who's doing it, because I mean, all I see is a bunch of teenagers and skateboards.
Correct.
So I'm just like.
I've never seen so many skateboards in my life. I watched a lot of
and I remember, and I actually saw like a lot of people that were, a lot of the protesters actually like stopping, because some of the businesses, it wasn't just like major corporations. It was clearly like there was no plan on this. Like I get I get Target, I get the major corporations, I get that, but then you're attacking black-owned businesses. You're attacking, small businesses, and obviously that's not people that can really financially like be able to regroup and get back in it, you know what I mean? Exactly. So there's those kind of things, but this is I'm not all about the looting personally, but
and that's what I think, because I agree with you. It kind of gets to a point where it's all A1 and people, that's property and those aren't people, and I get it. But those are people who put a lot of work into doing it. There's a lot of people.
Those are their livelihood.
Yeah, exactly. This is like
you see it as property. That's their that's what pays their bills.
Exactly. Like I done built this thing, acquiring customer base. Like people don't realize like this is work. Like especially starting a small business, depending on what you're in, it's going to be work. If you're in dealing with, especially like some of those custom sneaker stores and shit, like you can't get those. Like the custom sneaker, like these are limited editions, and y'all are fucking raiding them and fucking them up. A lot of these people
record stores. You know how hard it is to find a record, like a specific record. Like you can't find like the original records from like back in the days, like the ones that like the original MCs would use. Like that, you don't find those anymore. Like you buy is like, I guess, the newer version of vinyls. But I mean, like people go to those those older record stores to find that, because it just has a different sound to it. But like you're taking things that like people really cherish.
And again, I know people say, well, they're angry and this, and again, there's a point where you're angry and properly directing your anger in the right direction, and then there's a point where you're just capitalizing on a situation. You know, if you didn't get out there and protest and Martin, then you just out there, well, you probably don't give a fuck. You just capitalizing on the situation. But like I said, I want to get into something real quick, and that's the NBA. Talking about basically possibly coming back in July. And we mentioned this, I know, a little bit kind of the last time we had a stream and adjusting, you know, the basically the schedule as a whole and maybe getting it jumped off in July. You think that's the best move?
Personally, I think I think a lot of people just want to see the season finish. I think, you know, obviously we were right there. We were in the final stretch of the season. I think maybe like 12 games left, maybe, and we didn't get to finish the season. So we didn't get to, you know, declare a champ. We didn't get a champion off this season. Is kind of like, so we're right there. We want to get it done. You see, the NHL is doing something to at least get a winner declared. And I think that the NBA obviously sees that. And then also the thing is that obviously if you see sports back, you're like, it's that idea of like, oh, things are getting back to normal. I mean, you can go all throughout history, and the only reason why I can say is because I actually wrote a paper on this for school. And one of the things during the 1940s, during World War II, you know, that little bit of getting sports back after the World War was that moment of like people just finally being able to get back together and get that sense of like everything's gonna be fine, kind of mentality. So I think that this is kind of the you know, Adam Silver knows that, he said it himself, and so I mean, I'm sure that these guys want to do it, and I think personally we just want to get the season finished. I don't think that whoever wins this gets an asterisk, because I mean, if anything, this is significantly more difficult because you just went almost 3 months without playing, and now you're gonna go back into it, maybe hopefully not get hurt terribly, and at least finish the season for the sake of the community. So I don't necessarily feel like this is an asterisk on anything. If anything, I would applaud the players more, because I mean, if that's the case, if you look at it like that, then the team that won the championship during the lockout, do they look at that as an asterisk as well?
There we go. Then I do think that it's extremely important that, you know, things do get back to normal. I think that's kind of where we are with all the craziness. And again, I'm not saying, hey, let's get sports back, let's detract from what's going on with George Floyd. No, I think that we should be able to multitask, but I just think that there's been so much shit going on this year. It's not just George Floyd. And I mean, it's a culmination of everything. And I'm not saying, oh, well, this will fix it and this will fix racism and we'll all be, you know, kumbaya.
Well, I mean, if you've been, I don't know if you've been watching any German soccer, Honcho, but
no, not lately.
A lot of the American players, because there's actually an abundance of American players that play for German teams. Winston McKennie, who's actually from Texas, he's actually from the Dallas area, but he's from Texas. He was wearing an armband that said "Justice for George." Jadon Sancho, an English player, actually under his jersey, actually had a shirt that said "Justice for George" as well. Same thing for a player from Morocco, Hakimi, as well. Also took a time to pay tribute. Actually, one of the games, all the players took a knee before the game started to pay homage to George Floyd. George Lloyd, was it Floyd or Lloyd? I feel terrible for saying that, for asking that question. But for George Floyd, but yeah. So I mean, like you're seeing it internationally like there's players from like Cristiano Ronaldo's even posted something about this. So I mean, like you can see that this isn't just a nationwide issue. This is obviously racism is everywhere. So I mean, but yeah, like players from back home, that you know, it's affecting their home, so they want to be able to, you know, make sure that the world understands what's going on as well.
I actually saw some little clips of different players. I saw a guy, I think, lift up like a show his undershirt and had the Justice for George there. Um, and like I said, man, I want all of this to hopefully register. Like I don't want this, and I think that's what it is. Like I said, we'll get more of this in the end of nine. But I want people to really walk away from this. If you're really trying to change, you're really trying to see some shit, not just to get some likes on social media, not just to get some fucking cloud, like, you know, oh, this is what everybody else is doing, so I guess I'm mad too. Like, whatever side you are on this thing, like people need to walk away from this with a better understanding. and it has to be some change. I don't know what it's going to take. I think it's, like I said, a lot of my ideas may be a little too radical to be discussing on YouTube, but I just think that there's a lot of things that must be done differently. But it is about that time as we make sure here. I feel like there's something else I did want to speak on, but as we get ready to wind it down, is there anything that we may not have touched on that you wanted to discuss?
I'll just bring it up with the MLS. So the MLS is working on a tournament for this, kind of similar to what the NWSL is going to be doing, which there will be a video about that, so I'm not going to mention it on the live stream, but they're basically looking to set up a tournament to declare a champion. I don't know if this is going to just be that's going to be the season for the MLS, but they're working on something. The players actually agreed to it, but then weirdly enough, the MLS threatened to do a lockout, which I don't know why that came to be, but it happened. But things seem to be cooling down. MLB wise, they're starting to work on something now. The owners the players. I mean, obviously the MLBPA obviously gave them a proposal since they were tired of hearing all their terrible proposals from the MLB side, and it looked good. I knew for sure the owners weren't going to be all about it, but now MLB and the owners have come with another proposal, which is going to be roughly around 50 games. But now the players will be getting their pro-rated salaries. So now it's not none of this 50-50 crap. It's what we agreed on originally. This is what we're going to give you, but now we're only going to play 50 games, which kind of sounds stupid to me because if they're complaining about not making enough money, 50 games isn't going to give you more money. I think they'll go. I think eventually they'll talk it back up to 80 games, and then at least just get the season going so we can have a baseball season. But I think the fact that they're able to start kind of giving in for each other, it's obviously a good sign.
Like I said, those coming together. But with all this protesting and stuff going on, it's kind of like, fuck it, right? Let's just go back to normal. Fuck all the slowly bringing everything in. They just said it was, 60,000 people downtown? Go fill fucking Reliant up, fucking 100% capacity. Let's just, it gets filled, well, I would say fill the Toyota Center up, but that wouldn't happen with or without protesting and COVID and everything else. That's a challenge in its own right. Nobody wants to go see the Rock. I don't know why. But and then, like I say, just really getting out there, like I say, and I mean, because obviously people can't care that much. Motherfuckers are running around downtown. They all right next to each other. Some without masks. I'm just like, at this point, fuck it.
Honcho, we were talking about this before we started the stream, but one of the things that I hear from, as far as like a complaint from Texans fans, is that they wish the Houston Texans would embrace Houston more. And not necessarily, I mean, they're embracing Texas. I mean, regardless how you feel about country music, I mean, that's technically part of Texas. But I understand what they meant. Obviously, you want the H-Town, you want the chop and screw and all that. And they'd say they would be all about it. But when you look at the other teams, because I mean, I've seen the Astros throw up the age. I've seen the Astros, want to represent Houston. I've seen the same thing for the Rockets. They throw up the age. They play a lot of Travis Scott, but still, they're still doing things with Houston. And you're even seeing the Dash and the Dynamo doing a lot with Houston. You're seeing them bringing in Paul Wall, bringing in Bun B, bringing in Trey the Truth, bringing in these rappers to do things to partner with them. You see, their promo videos using Houston music, them throwing up the age. Their whole phrase is "hold it down," but clearly it's not working.
Correct.
They holding it down. We're not holding them down.
But that's the thing, though. Like, I just see something kind of contradicting where you're hoping that the Texans would do it, but regardless if they don't do it, you still go to the games. But on the other end, and it's funny how like the Astros and the Dynamo and the Rockets are all in the same area, and they're trying to do exactly what you're asking for. Yet you can't even fill a playoff game for the Rockets.
Correct. Wow, that's crazy. Wow. I'll check that out after this. We'll definitely talk about that in the next thing. But yeah, I agree with you, man. We definitely, and that might be what we talk about. We might need to discuss this a little bit more in depth on Thursday. So for those of you who are fucking with Sauce Sports TV, we appreciate all of y'all who come to the Sauce Sports TV and show love and fuck with it. Spread the word as we try to grow this channel to get on par with the Sauce.
like I say, it's a lot going on. And as things are starting to open back up, of course, there'll be more stories. With football, you can always squeeze some things out, but there's still a lot coming. Like I say, because I want to say, was it 5-6 videos?
That's a bit.
I think it's maybe 6. But they're coming. So it's like I say, it's content coming on Sauce Sports TV. So make sure you got your notification bell filled all the way in so you get those. Tomorrow it'll be regular sauce, and like I say, it's every other day. Monday, Wednesday, Friday sauce. Tuesdays, Thursdays, Sauce Sports TV, and I'm trying to get back at 6 o'clock instead of these little 6:30s and everything like that, so everything can be on point. Hector, drop your social so they know where to find you. Outside of the sauce, where can they find you?
So obviously on Twitter you can get me at Nino Flores 15, and then at Instagram it'll be at HFlow15. But yeah, shout out to everybody. Obviously, we're still trying to get this channel growing so we can eventually be up with Sauce Sports, because we're both the same channel. But shout out to everybody. Obviously, you guys went ahead and took the extra step, and make sure you guys follow the Sauce Sports TV. And like I said, there's going to be more content, so we're definitely going to be making sure we push, so there is a reason why to subscribe to this channel. But yeah, man, shout out to everybody, man. If you're out there protesting, make sure you guys stay safe out there. Be careful. Obviously, don't do anything that will hurt yourself, that will get you hurt, or anything like that. But just be safe out there.
Exactly. You don't do the foolishness again. Whatever you choose, whatever you decide, whatever you feel, just make the smartest possible decisions, folks. But with that being said, y'all know how this goes. Y'all are the freshest motherfucking ingredients in the world. We appreciate each and every one of y'all, man. We thank y'all for coming through, supporting Sauce Sports TV. Make sure you put it on your schedule. Thursday, we'll be back at it at 6. We'll be in the den at 9 tonight, kind of discussing some more things along the lines of what's been happening. But I kind of want to talk about government, too, because, government has its fair share of issues, and I think that's, the police are government representatives.
It's going to be huge.
Yeah, it's going to be huge. So it's going to be real interesting to see what happens with that. It's just so much to talk about with all the craziness going on. So make sure you fuck with the Den 9 tonight. But man, we thank y'all. Y'all the freshest motherfucking ingredients in the world. Y'all be cool like y'all be cool. But most of all, y'all stay saucy. Man, Hector, man, I appreciate another great stream. And we out, y'all.
Perfect.